And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that break, that brutal OST, as we have returned with our semifinals match. Our semifinals. We just casted ByuN versus Reynor. ByuN was able to bring him down 2-1 in a very interesting, very methodical series. I think what I loved about it is that ByuN's builds were very well thought out and very well refined, and I love how he played with the series overall. Remember, like game 1, Reynor was greedy and was punished for it. Game 3, Reynor was safe and was punished for it. Like, like the mind games, Reynor, he just could not catch a break, and yeah, it was just really cool to see how ByuN played that series out. But now we're getting into something a little bit different here. Now we're getting into a TvT. Clem versus ByuN. Clem, we've been featuring him quite a lot as of late in a lot of these TvTs, and typically this is where Clem does struggle a little bit more, whether it's players against like Gumiho, Oliveira, Kyor, even ByuN, even Maru. But I do also kind of like this for Clem because he's been getting a lot of TvT practice over the past 2 weeks. he's been playing a lot of TvTs, and if this is the matchup that we need to work on, then we need to play it, right? We can't avoid it. That's not how we're going to improve. So it is really cool to see Clem, as active as he is, just on that grind sets, and yeah, just non-stop competing in all these weekly events, all these online events, in the lead up to TvT, in the lead up to our final event, into our, I guess, into our, I was gonna say ESL Global Finals, but it's not the Global Finals anymore, but it's still, you know, our next premier event on the horizon, and I can't wait to sink my teeth into this. Here we go. Game 1, gonna be on Golden Aura. Vámonos. Clem versus ByuN. Now, I'm curious to see how ByuN has been adapting to Clem, because Clem has been one to really embrace the new Cyclone in the new patch, in the new TvT meta. We'll see if ByuN is one to reciprocate us. Here we go, spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Golden Aura, we have the French Terran player, the Red Terran representing Team Liquid. It is Clem. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Blue Terran player representing Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN. Here we go. Oh, God. So it looks like there was a bit of a pause here in this series, but thankfully it is going to be cleared up. For those that are curious as well, just to reiterate, we are going over the replays of ESL Open Cup Americas. These matches were played a couple of days ago. They were played a couple of days ago. Unfortunately, we weren't able to cover it because we were unfortunately busy casting and just busy on the CranKy Ducklings with plenty of other StarCraft going on. So we're catching up. We're catching up here on Sunday with matches that did occur earlier this week. Which did occur. And so far, the matches have not disappointed. We've had some insane results so far. We've had Parting popping off. We've had ByuN popping off. We had the return of Reynor as well in these online weeklies. And we have now more of a staple of these online weeklies. I was talking about how Reynor is more of a an oddity here in the ESL Americas tournaments, just because he's very rarely a part of this. Clem is a regular. He's a regular here. I mentioned before, but when it comes to the European participation, Clem, MaxPax, Wayne, and Geralt, those are the 4 that are here almost every single week, deep into the night, competing at 3, 4, 5 a.m. in the morning in these tournaments. They are night owls, is maybe a better way to put it. And yeah, we're here every single weekend. I'm ready. I'm ready for our TvT. For now, we have some interesting openers, some interesting deviations. Double gas. Double gas here from Clem, going for a faster factory, going to be a more aggressive opener out of our Red Terran player. ByuN going for something more economic, going for a Rax expand with a single gas geyser here. So a greedier opener out of ByuN, more aggressive from Clem. We go. And we'll see how we can piece this all together. With this Clem, you can get into an abundance of Reapers, you can go into Hellion production behind this. We could try to go for a faster starport into something like a Cyclone drop. We've been very fond of Cyclone drops, and there it is, Cyclone is on the way, and soon to be a starport behind it. This has become a very common, very popular opener amongst a lot of Terran players. Players like Clem, players like Kyor as well have adopted this quite nicely. There's that starport on the way. Behind this, ByuN getting into his own 1-1-1 opener. Getting a CC on location, getting to his own Hellion and Marine production. So more of a traditional opener here out of ByuN. Reaper's able to dip in. And they do get eyes on the CC that's already done, that's already built. So Clem, of course, he's aware now of the more economic start from his opponent. He should be aware that he will have a Cyclone lead. So he will be slightly ahead in the Cyclone production. And again, it should be working on that second Cyclone, and that would be Medevac as well. And Medevac on the way. Now, what's really scary about Cyclones and why they're just so influential in this matchup, in a lot of matchups, I say a lot of matchups, in this matchup and also against Protoss, is they kill workers so quickly. Cyclone jumps can be so devastating here in the mineral line, and not just against the mineral line, of course, but against units as well, and we do get a lock-on on the Hellion. Hellion goes down. Good pick-off already here for Clem. Does get a Hellion for free. Behind this, we're getting to reactor and Cyclone production here for ByuN. Just going to be massing them up. Job is moving out across map as we speak, so is ByuN's. ByuN will only have one Cyclone with his because of the opener. It's going to be one Cyclone and a handful of Marines. Meanwhile, Clem going to be committing a little bit harder with additional Cyclones. Back at home, we will have two Cyclones just in time to defend as well. So we have units here to defend, we have units to attack. Clem is pushing in, and ByuN is looking a little bit more exposed here back at home. He has his own defensive Cyclones, but he's going to be microing against a Medevac. Yeah, we have to evacuate. We have to give up on the natural base. At the same time, we dive into the main. SCVs are going down. But again, we are in position. Trading 1-for-1. Cyclone goes down in the main base. Meanwhile, across the map, Clem, he's busting in. He's breaking into the main base. He's camping the production. There's one Cyclone to defend. We do have a mass repair. We do top it up. But Clem, he is getting a bit too much done. He gets a reactor. Shuts down the reactor. Gets 5 SCVs. Gets a 6th SCV at the end. ByuN has nothing left across the map. And Clem, he comes out on top here in this trade. Oh, the juggling. A bit too late there. One Cyclone does fall. Meanwhile, Clem reinforcing with more Cyclones. Did lose one, which is pretty important. He doesn't want to let up. He's going to be pulling apart the attention of ByuN. We have a drop into the main base. The main army pushing towards that natural. The Raven to support. Behind this, third CC is on the way for both players. We do get into the mineral line. SCVs are going down, and we spoke about it, but that's going to be 3-4 dead SCVs. 4 dead workers. Yeah, Chi gets caught. As it's just too much damage. Clem was just then pushing to the natural as well, and Clem will take game number 1. GG. GG, well played. Oh boy, yeah, having a really strong start there, able to pull apart ByuN, able to shut down his aggression as well, coming out ahead in the Cyclone aggression. And I mean, this is modern TvT. This is modern TvT nowadays. All about your Cyclones. I feel like tank versus tank in the mid game is more of a rarity nowadays. I always appreciate when we get there, and hopefully we can get there, especially in game 2. Fingers crossed, as we're going to be loading on in to Alcyone, a much larger map. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Alcyone, we have our French Terran player, the Red Terran representing Team Liquid, leading the series 1-0. It is Clem. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the blue Terran player representing Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN. Looking to tie this up. Looking to force that ace match. And again, on a larger map like Alcyone, we can get into more of the mid-game. We can get more of a back and forth. At least I'm hoping that's the case. We'll see. See in the chat, hydrate your Cyclones, marinate your Marines. But we've been through this before, Flamio. we need some alliteration, Pat. What are the Cyclones doing? They can't be hydrating. Aye. We'll figure it out. We'll find something for them to do. As we once again have a double gas opener out of Clem, as we saw in the previous game, going for a faster factory. Meanwhile, ByuN going for a more economic opener 2 games in a row. Now, I like this a lot more for ByuN in Game 2. Game 1 was on Golden Aura. Rush distance by ground is shorter. You can be very aggressive, as we saw, and snowball out of control on Golden Aura. Here on Alcyone, rush distance by air and ground is a lot longer compared to Golden Aura. So you have more time to actually gather your thoughts, to actually muster up a defense, more time to react, more time to defend. So we have our CC on location. We'll see if Clem can try to punish this again and pull apart his opponent. Was quite successful in game 1. See if he can do it again here in game 2. Again, the map is going to be working against him a little bit more. We do have to factor that as our factories are on the way. You see Clem just scouting, making sure that he doesn't get proxied. Proxy racks, not the most uncommon thing, especially from ByuN. I wouldn't be surprised if we do get a proxy rack Reaper at some point in this series, but Clem feeling safe here. Does pull back. Getting into CC on the low ground, and interesting, Clem going to be going into a Hellion first. Okay. Going for a faster Hellion. Clem getting into, reactored Reapers with Hellions. This is a little bit more old school. We have seen Clem mix this in, so we should be getting up to, we can go up to 5 Reapers and 3 Hellions. We can commit a little bit hard to this if we wanted to, and the goal of all these units is to not just gain map control, but also dive into the mineral line and kill SCVs. We dive on forward, we can maybe dive on top of the Cyclone as well, but this army is also going to be quite fragile. Bear that in mind. As we go, 3rd Hellion is on the way. We have our next set of Reapers, so it's going to be 5 Reaper, 3 Hellion. So a pretty intense army. It's going to be quite committed, and Clem with this army is going to be diving into the natural, potentially into the main as well. Like, bearing in mind that we could also split off the Reapers. The Reapers, they could go up the cliff into the main, and the Hellions can push towards the natural. Regardless, our goal here is to kill SCVs. Meanwhile, ByuN behind this, getting into a pretty similar opener to the previous game. Cyclones and drop play. Cyclones are amassing. Clem is pushing out, and he will be scouted by that Zelnaga. ByuN now aware of the opener. He does race back home, and he's going to be getting in position. Cyclones are going to be amassing. Oh, speaking of, ByuN, he commits. He's crazy. Back at home, we don't really have much to defend, so ByuN is going for the drop here towards the natural base. At the same time, he evacuates his own natural, but he still will lose 2 SCVs. Worker's going to be going down. Clem, he dives into the Cyclones. He gets 1. He gets 1 Cyclone, but he will be forced out. Gets 3 workers in total. At the same time, ByuN is across the map. Boys are being pulled. ByuN not able to deal much damage at all. Clem, he holds. He defends back at home. He gets 3 SCVs, and he does pull back. Now, that was a big investment, is what I will say. Oof, that was 5 Reapers and 1 Hellion for 3 workers and the Cyclone. Not the best trade for Clem, and the drop comes back in. Clem, he just moved out. 1 worker, we've denied quite a bit of mining time. This Clem is committed to his own drop across the map. Oh my god, that was so close. ByuN barely misses the drop, by the way. Clem, he slips into the main base. Slips into the main, going for the mineral line. ByuN will be able to react. He will be able to react in time. Ooh, but we'll still lose a big chunk of workers here. 3 SCVs go down. One Cyclone does survive. As again, we are committed to the Cyclone phase of TvT. It's going to be Mass Cyclone versus Mass Cyclone. 3rd TC is on the way here for Clem. ByuN splitting up his forces, getting his own 3rd TC on location. And it isn't just about the Cyclones, also about those Ravens. We do have Raven production commencing with both players as well. Interference Matrix being researched by Clem. ByuN is avoiding it for the time being, and yeah, he will not be investing into that upgrade. Interesting. As he dives into the main base, delays the 3rd TC, and he gets a handful of workers as well. 3 workers do go down. Not bad. Especially considering that ByuN didn't lose anything, kept everything alive. Oh, you can see Clem, he's looking for the drop. Oh my god. He's looking for the medevac, and he will come across it. Oh, he barely doesn't. He does. Who catches who? ByuN, he catches the Cyclone and shuts it down. And ByuN will be able to escape. As it's going to be on ByuN now to hunt down this medevac. Meanwhile, across the map, we're getting into bio play. We have stim in production for both players. We should soon be stopping Cyclone production and getting into tanks. We should be getting up towards 10 Cyclones. And there we go. We have 10 Cyclones for ByuN. We have 6 for Clem, as we have commenced tank production. Again, Cyclones are amazing here in the early to mid game, but as the game progresses, they do get outscaled by tanks. By tanks and Marauders. ByuN, though, committed a little bit harder. He's looking for that third base. He wants to deny it. Third is soon to be taken. We go to the scan. He can go for the dive. Only 6 Cyclones. Clem, he did cut Cyclone production a little bit earlier. Boys are being pulled. Auto tarts being thrown down. Yeah, with these auto tarts, we can break through. ByuN, he cleans his way through those SCVs. Gets some of the Cyclones as well. And here in TvT, mate, you stop making Cyclones, you die. The tank not able to siege up in time. And that's going to be 15 dead workers. Oh my god. 15 workers go down, 19 even, and we're not done. We can keep on pushing. Again, Clem, he cut Cyclone production a little bit earlier. Was being a little bit greedy by doing so. Lose the final Cyclone, the medevac, and 22 workers. And just like that, ByuN, he's got almost double the worker count. He's up 20 SCVs. He's got his third base up and running. Clem did take a big blow to his economy. Ay. With that, I mean, he is building up a tank count, that's true, but, I mean, so is ByuN. ByuN is already on that. Already working in his own tanks, building up his own Raxes. Double drop on the way. What kind of army are we working with? Looking at the units tab, we have 1 tank. This is our army. 1 tank and 9 Marines. And ByuN is going to be able to just establish himself here behind the mineral line. Turret's in position. Well-placed turret does deflect ByuN. 4 CC on location. Ay. ByuN is going to be forced to back off and rotate around. 2-2 already on the horizon as well. So ByuN taking a slight lead here in the upgrades. And how do we come back here from Clem here? I mean, there's potential in TvTs for things like drop play, positional play as well, with tank production, of course. Even if you're down in supply, you can, of course, make up for that with better positioning. Can pull that off. The armory just now finishing as well. His upgrades even further delayed. And here comes ByuN. I appreciate that ByuN, he isn't resting on his laurels. He's already moving out as he takes his 4th base. And he did retain his Ravens. Speaking of, we get into the mineral line. 3 more SCVs go down. Remember, ByuN did not research interference matrix. It does get caught out. Barely not though. They escape and ByuN, he dives into the 3rd base. Tank going to be going down. They're so exposed. There's 1 tank left on the right-hand side. The boys are being pulled. The tank gets focused down. And we take control of the 3rd. And GG gets called. And ByuN will tie up the series 1-1. GG. GG. Again, Clem, he was being a little bit greedy there. So typically in TvT, you would go up to 10 Cyclones. That's kind of around the number you want to stop and then start transitioning. If you remember, Clem, he cut Cyclones at 6. I mean, sure, he did lose a couple of Cyclones out on the map, but he did cut Cyclones early on, and that is why he was quite vulnerable there. ByuN, as soon as he scanned that natural, he saw the lack of army, he saw the transition on the way, and he knew that that was the moment to strike, that was the moment to push in. Just before Clem could get into his proper tank production and siege up defensively. And with that, we're going to the ace match. We're going all the way to game number 3. And so far, every game ByuN has gone for a Rax Expand, an economic opener. Do we see the same here on Hecate? We are loading on in. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Hecate, we have our red Terran player, the French Terran representing Team Liquid, being forced into the ace match. It is Clem. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Terran player, the blue Terran representing Shopify Rebellion, tying up the series 1-1. It is ByuN. Here we go. Now, Hecate is an interesting one. Fun fact, it actually has a really short rush distance by ground. Like, deceivingly short. So because of that, aggression can hit across the map a little bit faster. That is true. But on the flip side, Hecate is also a very defendable map. Specifically, the choke points. There are so many narrow entry points here on Hecate, whether it's the bridges, whether it's this ramp here with the rocks as well. Like, these ramps are so narrow. As a result, pushing up them is a very difficult thing to do. Not just up the ramps, but also past the bridge. So as a result, that's why this leads to longer games, because even though it's technically shorter by ground, it's harder to get across it. That's typically how things go, but we'll see. We shall see how our players adapt. We do have Clem once again going double gas. This time ByuN for the first time this series, opening up double gas as well. It's going to be opening up double gas. With that, both players going for faster factories. I imagine both players rushing into faster cyclone production. Clem does confirm. Meanwhile, ByuN opts once again not to go for an SCV scout. This is something very akin to ByuN. We saw it against Raynor, where ByuN very rarely goes for worker scouts in matchups. It's a very greedy thing to do. Technically, ByuN has the better economy. Technically, Clem, because he has one worker scouting and ByuN doesn't, ByuN is slightly ahead in the economy, but is in the dark and not fully aware of what's going on. It can be risky. It can be quite risky here. But ByuN is one to take those risks. You can see both players just in position on top of the ramp with said Reapers. As we do have our first deviation, Clem going to be getting into additional Reaper production, which is a little bit safer. ByuN going for a reactor first into an add-on swap into double reactor cyclones. Again, very greedy here out of ByuN. ByuN has one Reaper to defend. Little does he know, or little does Clem know how little that ByuN has. Meanwhile, Clem just chilling back at home with his two Reapers, building up his own army, getting into his own production. So again, this is greedy here from ByuN, and this can be punished, but it won't be, as he's now getting to his Cyclones, getting into his 1-1-1. Likewise, so is Clem, in a different way. Again, basically, Clem was being safer here with his build, and ByuN was being greedier. As we now have our medevacs on the way, soon to go for drop play. Again, this has become quite a common go-to here in TvT, going for Cyclone drops. We should be seeing a medevac here as well. No, never mind. Going for an add-on swap. Are we going for a Banshee first or a Raven? Oh my. ByuN, you have my attention here. It is going to be a faster Raven. Okay, so ByuN is getting into a pretty hefty army already. He's got a lot of Cyclones to work with, and with this Raven, he will have that much more DPS. Meanwhile, Clem is going for some drop play. It's going to be harassing. Is moving out with the medevac. ByuN moves out as well, and it looks like ByuN, he will miss the drop. Just barely does miss it. And what do we have at home to defend? We have not much. Cyclones are still in production, and Clem, he gets into the natural. Workers are going to be going down. At the same time, though, ByuN pushing towards the natural base of Clem. Likewise, Clem does have some use to defend. He does have two Cyclones. Go 3, 4 SCVs going to be going down. A Mule as well across the map. Clem, he's ready for this. He has an army. He forces this back. We'll lose 8 SCVs, though. Lose a lot of workers. Meanwhile, ByuN going to be holding on. The Raven! Raven does overextend. So does the medevac. Players are going to be trading 1 for 1 here with the Cyclones as well. And as the dust does settle, Clem did lose additional workers, but losing that medevac wasn't as devastating as losing the Raven. Like, the Raven has so much value over the course of this game. It was brutal that ByuN lost it. ByuN slightly ahead in workers. Does have the worker lead. Raven does slip by. ByuN does spot it, does pull back, and Clem goes straight into a third CC. Very fast third base here out of Clem. ByuN, his third, not in sight. I mean, it shouldn't be. It's crazy. So really greedy move here out of Clem. I do like it. ByuN, he's backing off, and Clem is getting away with that faster base. Then he slips into the mineral line. SCVs are going to be going down. We get one, we get two. And a lot of less mining time. So workers are forced back. ByuN focusing on his push. Once again, ByuN did not research interference matrix. He only has auto turrets, but he pushes up the ramp into a concave. The concave is brutal. Auto turret was thrown down, and ByuN, he loses everything. A massive blow. GG gets called. ByuN gets caught out. And just like that, Clem takes a series 2-1. GG. GG, well played. Again, with the new Cyclone v Cyclone meta, you get caught out one time, you lose your army, and that is it. Cyclones do not take long at all to get across the map, and ByuN could not keep up. He lost everything. Again, kind of misjudged the situation, misjudged the potential he had to push up that ramp, and he was caught out. GG, well played. Congratulations. Congratulations to Clem, as he does advance on to the grand finals. GG. This was a short series, by the way. Like, each of these games, it felt like they ended very quickly. Came down to like one big push. Unfortunately, we didn't really get to get into some 3-base versus 3-base, which is unfortunate. It can be some really solid TvT between the two players. Instead, it was more dictated by like the early game aggression, and Clem was able to come out on top in that respect. Congratulations. And with that, again, Clem does advance on. Meanwhile, we have another series to go over. Now, if you recently joined us, you may have missed it, but we did cast Hero versus Parting earlier. Hero did come out on top versus Parting, did bring him down into PvP in a 2-0 fashion, and now Hero advances on to face off against Estrella in the semifinals. Max goddamn Angel, let's go. Every now and then, either Estrella or Trigger, they pop off and they have a deep run like this to make it into the semifinals. Really impressive. But we'll see if Estrella can do what Parting could not. We'll see if Estrella can fight back in our PvP. And I'll be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if this is a short series as well. Like, we had a pretty short TvT, a lot of aggression. I'm feeling the same with this PvP. I'm ready for it. Ready for it.